as a consumer, what, like, answer the question, why should I follow you and what am I going to get?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the walkthrough, the most underrated, valuable marketing podcast in real estate history. I am 𝐿𝐸𝐸, aka the Broke Agent, aka Dr. Clickstein, Jason, because all I do is get clicks, and I am joined here by my co-host Jason Cassidy, aka Commander. Commander Cassidy, because all he does is command your attention. How about that one, Jimmy? You like that?
I like how you're branding the podcast as underrated. I appreciate that.
The most underrated, best podcast in real estate history.
Yes.
We have a very special guest today on the walkthrough, the highly touted, the illustrious, the black t-shirt wearing, the conversation king, the most useless follow in real estate, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Mackin. Jimmy, how you doing today?
Listen, I'm excited, fellas, to share with the dozens and dozens of people who will watch this replay. Okay,
that is generous.
That's some good marketing advice. No, it's gonna be fun because I think we're going through such an interesting time right now of the year where a lot of agents are planning and strategizing and kind of thinking about what they want to do in 25. So hopefully we can give them some guidance in terms of how to make next year the best year yet.
Exactly. And Jimmy, I actually want to start with this. I made the joke that you're the most useless follow in real estate, but your profile would beg to differ, right? It says actually that you are on a mission to become the most useful follow in real estate. This says it in Jimmy Mackin's Instagram bio. If you're not following him, go follow him right now because you do post amazing content that is extremely useful for agents. So what was the thought process behind coming up with that for your bio? And then it kind of got me thinking, Jason, should agents post something like this as well? Instead of just saying like the #1 agent in Tuscaloosa, should they say something like the most useful follow in San Diego? So tell me about that bio.
Yeah. So, well, first off, we should probably answer the question, which is why are Instagram bios important to start with? I was looking at my analytics before today's call, and I saw that in the last 30 days, I've had 5,600 people visit my Instagram profile. And so I mean, so like that's
rookie numbers, Jason. That is pathetic.
What are we doing on this show? Okay, let's start over.
Hold on.
Wow.
Hold on. Okay. I know. Listen. I know you got hundreds of thousands of followers, but for all the people who have, let's say, fewer than like a couple thousand followers, all my fans in the community are going to support me in the comment section.
Jimmy's
you guys know, like getting a few. I am.
Exactly.
I'm a man of the people. Don't let the dry shampoo confuse you. I am a man of the people. So the thing that jumps out to me is that, like, if you're getting 5,000 people to visit your profile and read who you are and what you're about, there's a massive opportunity as an agent, as you start to build your following on social media, to say, this is like my billboard for my brand. And so when it comes to your bio, I think it kind of falls into, I'd say broadly speaking, kind of 1 out of 5 categories. So the first option you have is a mission-driven bio. This is like what I have. Hey, I'm on a mission to become the most useful person to follow. All great brands have a mission statement. Tesla, to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Microsoft, to empower every person, every organization to achieve more. Like, good brands have a clear mission. The second option you have for bios is you have like a point of view. Or as our buddy Mark Davidson would say, what's your worldview? Domo Realty used to have something that said like selling cool homes to cool people, which I thought was very clever. The third option you have is like a LinkedIn profile, which I see a lot of, which is like, here's my number, here's my location, here's what I do. Some other examples jump out to me, like the sales pitch. Can you communicate what is the thing that you do that helps people achieve their goals, and can you include that as the primary hook in your bio? And the last one would likely be like a problem solution combination. So an example of this, fellas, would be like, there's a company called Recess, which sells like water with magnesium. And it said in their bio, I'm looking at it right now, it says, an anecdote to modern times, drinks and powders to help you feel calm, cool, and collected. And so I think you have kind of a couple different formulas you can use as it relates to your bio, but recognize it's the billboard for your brand and take full advantage of it.
So I kind of feel I have a couple questions. One is, do you just remember every brand mission statement of every brand on the world? You just popped off Tesla, Microsoft, like 5 different brands. Is that like your hobby and your free time or what?
Listen, any marketer worth their weight has a swipe file and studies this stuff. You know, I think there's so much in brand. They have this terminology called yoga babble, which is like a lot of brands have like I'm gonna forget what WeWork was. Maybe we can check it in the show notes, but WeWork had the most wildest like about connecting the world, and it was so confusing. It was so much yoga babble, and like that's one strategy. But the other strategy is like something that's very, let's say, instructive for your organization. Microsoft used to have put a computer on every desk. That was like their mission statement. That was their North Star. It drove all their operational decisions. So yeah, I think I do. The sad fact is, Jason, yes, there should be probably more useful information in my brain besides mission statements from trillion-dollar companies, but that's what's there right now.
What do you think, Eric? Like, obviously, from a real estate agent perspective, Jimmy has on a mission to become the most useful person or useful follow in real estate. That's it. So he doesn't have, you know, I know there's a link to listing leads, but he doesn't have like a list of all the companies he founded and all the different stuff. Whereas real estate agents, if you go look at mine, it's like agent, $100 million producers, sell it, real.com, you know, all the different things. Where should we as real estate agents kind of settle on this?
I think you need more kind of accolades in your bio than that. But I think agents should also, not for Jimmy, I'm talking about for real estate agents specifically, because you want to see how many homes they've sold, possibly volume, how long they've been in the business, maybe something personal about them too, because you are trying to capture that follow and capture that conversion. I actually made a list here, Jason, that I thought how people could replicate Jimmy's profile, because I haven't seen that many agents that have anything like that with Jimmy. So Jimmy, let me know what you think of these. I chat GPT'd this. So one of the best ones I've seen is Alyssa Kernot, who we mention every single week on the podcast, but she just has a Spokane agent sharing cool things about the city she loves. I thought that just gave a great overview of her profile, but then I plugged in Jimmy's. So here are some examples of what you could do in your bio. A Miami agent showcasing the vibrant culture and hidden gems of the Magic City. Helping Chicagoans find their place in the Windy City, one neighborhood at a time. A Nashville agent sharing all things Music City, from local spots to dream homes. An agent with New York roots giving you the inside scoop of city living. A Denver agent with passion for mountain views and urban vibes alike. A couple more here. Your go-to guide for all things Seattle, from neighborhoods to city living. A Portland agent with the love for the city's coffee culture and community. Here's one for you, Jason. A San Diego agent sharing the sunny side of SoCal, living on the local streets. So I feel like those mission statements can be a lot better. Jimmy, what do you think of those?
So I hate all of them because they feel like they were they feel like they were written by someone who, like, you know, does scripting for Hallmark movies. And this is and so let's workshop this right now. Okay. Let me give you an example. Like if I was a Gen Z realtor, as an example, what I want you to have a little bit of edge, right? A little bit of spice to, like, listen, that's not me. That's not my brand. I'm pretty plain, you know, vanilla. Here's some really useful information. Go do it. I'm not that person. I don't try to be that person. So therefore, like, I'm not trying to be funny or entertaining. I'm just trying to be, as I said, useful. But if I was an agent and I was competing against a lot of other agents, if I was, like, say, a Gen Z agent, I might say, like, helping Gen Zers get their fair share of the American dream. And so, like, now, like that, like, so as a Gen Zer, you're like, they hate boomers. They think boomers have ruined the world. They think that boomers, and yet they don't realize, just as a quick aside, that home affordability when boomers were buying in '85 is basically the same as it is today. So guess what? Boomers kind of live through what you're living through right now, except they're not complaining about as much. And so what you're seeing right now is you got this opportunity. If I'm an agent, I'm like, man, I would have some personality behind it. This is going to be really strange. We're going to take a left turn here, guys. There's a woman. I was checking this out recently. There's a woman. I was asking, like, who are the oldest people on Instagram? There's a woman who's 98 years old who uses Instagram. Her handle is called, I'm not going to be able to get this out. Her handle is called Batty Winkle. Okay. She's got 3.1 million followers. She's a 90-year-old woman who posts provocative, like, photos.
She's hot.
Of herself. And if you go to her bio,
No, I don't.
Just pull it up right now. Her name's Helen Van Winkle. In her bio, it says stealing your man since 1928. Okay.
That's great. Batty Winkle.
It's Batty Winkle. So all I'm saying here, let's land the plane here, guys. All I'm saying is I think that like you got to have a little bit of if you're going, you can be like me, boring and pragmatic, which is fine. But you also have an opportunity to be a little bit more, let's say, poignant, have a little bit more spice, a little bit more kind of opinionated on it. Like there's a big opportunity to do that in this market.
Yeah, I do like the Gen Z example you gave because it does call out the problem of the American dream and home ownership. So here's the problem. I'm the Gen Z solution to that. I know you hated all those examples, Jimmy, but I do think they're better than the average agent bio that does say top 1%. Like if you are a Portland agent with a love for cities, coffee, culture, and community, you kind of get an idea of what the profile is going to be about. So maybe there's something in between.
I'm obviously joking. Some of them were the good first draft, but I would say like one thing about branding and positioning is you have to answer the question, what's in it for me? So if you're developing a profile to appeal to other agents, sure, talk about how you're the top 1%. The average consumer doesn't really know what that means, and they've heard it so often they don't believe it. And so what I would be thinking about is like, what as a consumer, answer the question, why should I follow you and what am I going to get? And if you can do that, you got a couple formulas we gave you earlier. I think you're going to find that you'll find a much clearer, much more compelling kind of bio, if you will.
That's a clip right there, Haley, what he just said about if you're a consumer, why should I follow you? Clip it right there. Good work, Jimmy. You just made the Now Bam Instagram profile. Congratulations.
Okay.
Maybe you'll accept a collab on this one.
So make sure you guys tag me so I can get more than 5,000 people visiting my profile.
I know those are embarrassing numbers. Jason, what do you have on your Instagram profile? What do you have to attract people's attention?
You know what? I'll tell you right now because I actually don't know. Okay, so San Diego real estate agent. I think that's probably the most important thing. You should have the name of your city. Jimmy obviously doesn't need a name of his city because he's not a real estate agent in a city. But if you're in Boston or Chicago or Boise, you should should be in the first line somehow, just the area that you service. And then I just say contributor Now Bam. That's probably a wasted line right there. And then I say pro coach for Sell It / Sirhan. And then my DRE, because in California, unfortunately, we have to have our DRE in our bio, which is a state law, but it's absolutely hideous because it takes valuable real estate away. So that's my line. It's my name, my city, a couple of the ancillary things that I do, and then my DRE number, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah. I think some of the best ones, check out at Move Me to Tennessee, at Alyssa Kernot. I mean, with BAM, we have the key to thriving in real estate. And then we talk exactly what we have, marketing tips, industry news, real estate advice. The broke agent is the key to surviving real estate humor. You know exactly what you're going to get from that account. So I like the way Jimmy framed that is when you follow someone, you're looking at their profile. What am I, the follower, the potential followee, going to get out of this?
Yeah. One quick note there, Eric, before we move on. My recommendation as well to everyone who watches this is to look outside of real estate for some inspiration. One example of a profile that I found recently that I really dig is this new brand called Touchland. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this. Haley, you may have seen this. It's a hand sanitizer, like a really beautifully designed hand sanitizer. So let me ask you guys this question. When you guys leave the house, this might be for Jason because Eric never leaves the house, but when you leave the house, okay, like what's in your mind? You go through a mental checklist of things not to forget. What are those things, Eric? Jason.
Keys, phone, wallet.
Keys, phone, wallet. So when you go to their profile, on Instagram, it says keys, wallet, phone, Touchland, which is their product, which is so clever. It's like the thing you never leave home without. It's like the old Visa, right? Or was it American Express, right? Never leave home without it. Never leave home without your Touchland. So they have a really clever like keys, phone, wallet, Touchland. So there's there's really creative things you can do in the space if you get outside of real estate and see what other brands are doing.
Jimmy, you know why I like you? Well, lots of reasons I like you. Great guy. But I love when you break down what other companies are doing. You know what I mean? You'll always post and be like, check out this ad from Oreo and what they did. And then you break it down exactly and why it works, the science behind the marketing. I really appreciate that.
Well,
By the way,
you,
Jimmy,
was that not a question, Jason? Just a compliment?
Nope,
just a compliment.
Just a compliment.
We like to make our guests, unlike you, Jimmy, when we have guests on the show, we like to make our guests feel good and feel wanted. They don't come on the podcast and insult the host. By the way, I do leave my house Listerine strips, always. Chapstick, keys, wallet.
Yeah. There's a reason I knew you had some weird stuff on there. So that's why I called on Jason.
Hey, Haley's not jumping in, but she did say in the chat that she has in fact seen that and bought one.
There you go.
Ooh, there you go. Fantastic. All right, Jimmy, let's move on to topic number 2, how to actually close deals on Instagram. Haley, if you could pull this video up, it's from Sam Reifman. This is a video that you just posted, Jimmy, about this guy who's just knocking it out of the park. I think he went from, correct me if I'm wrong here, was it 1,300 followers to like 23,000?
Yeah,
23,000 in a year.
Yep.
Okay, so let's watch this video from Jimmy, and then I kind of want to break it down.
This agent went from 1,300 followers to about 23,000 in just over 12 months. Here's the crazy part. He has made $135,000 in GCI from Instagram alone using one incredibly simple tactic. That is using IG polls. Now, I'm going to share with you just a couple examples of IG polls here in just a moment, but he just shared a screenshot for me. This is mind-blowing. He shared a screenshot for me that had this poll that reached 2,300 people. It says, would you like our guide to selling your house in Boston? He had 45 people respond to that poll. 45 free seller leads from one Instagram story. So here's the deal. I got a bunch of these. I mean, you guys should take advantage of these. I got ones on market data, on seller behavior, on mortgage.
Okay, so Haley, put it on mute. I just want to show what you did with the copy and this video. First off, in terms of the visualization of this video, just very front facing camera, natural. It's not like a highly edited video. That's working right now on Instagram. The first thing you have in your caption is comment poll to get instant access. So that's the immediate call to action instead of burying it in the comments. And then I like how you have a piece of paper that you're circling that just kind of creates action and kind of gets the eyes moving as opposed to you just talking about it. So it's like, oh, he just circled something right there, like he's using real data. So I thought the video itself was great. But so explain to me, like, what polls is Sam using on his story to actually capture leads?
Well, real quickly, thank you for the compliment. And you taught me that idea. I think you and I were talking a while back, and you're like, you taught this idea of adding in your main CTA at the very first line of your caption. And so for those of you who are using ManyChat or never heard of ManyChat, ManyChat is a cheat code for lead gen on Instagram. You could use keywords, you can use comments, reactions to basically slide into people's DMs and then capture their information. So if you're not using ManyChat, I would highly recommend it. And what Eric taught me, which is really helpful, is that instead of having a CTA at the end, which is where most marketers put it at the top of the caption. So before it gets cut off, people can actually see it. The second thing I'll just call out before we get to the polls here, Eric, second thing I'll call out is that video. I did not intentionally have that notepad in front of me. I just wrapped up an event and I was like, I had 30 minutes to kill. And I'm like, let me just share something on social. And I literally had it there as a reminder to me what I'm going to talk about. And what I found to be interesting, and you'll see the next video I did, I used it intentionally the second time because it did so well. And so when I think about a good hook for a video, there are 3 hooks that people have to kind of internalize. The first hook is the visual hook of the still that's on your reel. The second hook is the audio, what you're actually saying when you get on it. And the third hook is that very top line of the caption. And so you have to sort of think about those 3 things when you're thinking about creating any type of content, video content on Instagram. Coming back to polls, polls are a cheat code. I mean, they are so wildly effective for generating leads on Instagram. I'll give you an example of one that I love right now. So the one that Sam shared, shout out to Sam. I mean, just absolutely killing it right now on social.
AMX member.
Yeah, awesome dude, and not surprised at all. He's taken all your ideas and putting them to good use. The one that he used recently was thinking about selling your home. Download my free Boston home selling guide. Yes, please send me the guide. I'm actually looking to buy my first home. So he was able to separate buyers and sellers. Any type of, for other polls I would use, guys, I would always I like to use what's happening in the news or predictions in the market as a way to start a conversation. Let me give you another example of this. Goldman Sachs recently predicted that home values will increase 4.4% in 2025. Asking an open-ended question, such as, if home prices go up, I will blank. Consider selling my house. Will sell when rates drop. Or number 3, I'm undecided. So I think when it comes to polls, it's using stories, using stats, using predictions to provide something interesting to the consumer, and then ask easy to answer questions that help you generate qualified leads. That's the kind of the go-to formula for me.
So are you saying, so say you don't plug the buyer's guide in that and you just do the poll as is. The point of that is to differentiate your audience and see who's a seller, who's a buyer, who's interested. And then is there something you recommend agents do after that? Like if a buyer says, oh, I'm interested, or I'm going to be a first-time buyer, is there something you send them, or are you just kind of taking that mental data?
Well, you have to fulfill upon the promise. If you're offering a guide, you should give them a guide. But one thing, it's a great question, Eric, because one of the things people really screw up, and there's like nothing that bothers me more than if I am like someone's trying to sell me something, and I'll say, hey, like just send me some times that we can connect, and they send me a Calendly link where I have to then like go through and choose it, as opposed to like doing the work for me. It drives me crazy. And I think we have to realize it's our job to keep the conversation going, not theirs. So if we do not want to have a brick wall where we say, here's the guide, like, let me know if you have any questions. That's the dumbest thing you could possibly do. You just got someone to see your poll, respond to it. You're now having a conversation, and then you're like, hey, see you later. That's it. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So one thing that I saw recently, this guy, Bo Maddox, came up to me at a conference, and he said, I've got this question, the sales question, that's absolutely killing it right now, that helps me kind of get into conversation and book appointments. And it's such a simple question. He says, when he's talking to a prospect online, he goes, hey, just out of curiosity, what's the one thing your next home is going to have that your current one doesn't? And so whether they're a renter or a homeowner, it's like they start kind of going through the list, and now you can start talking to them about where they're at in the process, and you can start LP mama them at that point. But you can start the conversation using good questions like what Bo does.
That's solid. One of the things you did in that video, Jimmy, really, really well, was kind of an old Sharon Shrivatsism here, where it's proof over promise. And so like you were talking about the poll, and then you turned the camera to your laptop and you showed the Instagram stories on Listing Leads, I think is what it was. And you were saying these are the actual polls. As real estate agents, a lot of times we can say, you know, there's 42 houses under 850,000. Click here for a link to all of those. But if you did the same thing and you turned and showed your laptop, literally pulled up the MLS and just showed like the map of the 42 dots and just said, there's 42. I'm here working. I'm on the MLS. There, look, check this out. There's 42 homes under 850. DM me the word X to see the list. Now you've shown proof. Over promising that there's 42 homes. You've shown the MLS, you've shown the proof. That worked really, really well. You did a good job of that by showing the poll in your on your laptop screen.
I love Jason. I hope everyone picked up on what Jason just said there, because I love this idea. Jason, describe what the user interface of an MLS is.
It's pretty terrible. It's pretty terrible. It's a bunch of like widgets and drop downs and stuff like that, and then you open it up and it can populate on a map, but it's not very user friendly.
And the thing is, what it actually looks like, it's insider trading, meaning that you feel as a consumer that when you look at the inside, like, oh, that's where all the listings are.
Yep.
You know, it's not on this pretty, beautiful site. It's like on this raw, ugly database of just like tables and filters and search tools. And so I love the idea of shooting a video and saying, hey, listen, like if I was doing a video right now, like, right now, I just reviewed the last 135 new listings that hit the Gaslight District in San Diego this past month, and I found 5 of them that I think are going to be having a massive price reduction. And I turn my camera towards that, show the price reduction, and then be like, that's a really smart tactic. So I'm a huge fan of that idea of like giving the behind the scenes and showing kind of the MLS data. I think I've seen some dude do this, camera's name, and it was just a really effective ad.
I've done this with our investors. We get a list of off-market properties, and it's like we have 4 or 5 flippers that are they constantly have 10 to 15 projects going at any given time, and then they'll send me the projects ahead of time, and I'll compile them onto like a Google sheet, and then overlay that onto a Google map so that the dots populate just on a little Google map of San Diego. And then I'll screenshot that, put it in social and just say, hey, I know of about 62 homes that are coming soon. These are not on the market yet, but it's actual visual of the dots on the map, as opposed to saying, hey, I know of these homes, DM me the word for the list. So always use the visual.
So let me throw a crazy idea out there to you, Eric, because I want to get your take on this as well, which is, you've taught me this before, Eric. You've said things like both through BAM and as well as to be personally around the importance of Reels and how incredibly important Reels are for attracting followers. And I'm assuming that is still true as a means of like the best way to get followers is through Reels. Has that changed or that?
No, you reach the most non-followers on Reels by far. Reels and carousels in terms of actual shares, because it's shares what gets you followers.
And if you were to say, guys, what is the #1 reason why people don't shoot Reels, knowing that they can get followers, knowing that they can get leads, knowing that they don't have to pay, a profit-crushing referral fee? What is the #1 reason that most people who know they should be doing it don't do it?
It's a pain in the ass. It's time-consuming to get on video. It's uncomfortable if you're not charismatic or you're not good at it. It's something you don't want to do.
And so that is no longer an excuse in 2025. Because we saw this, and maybe we'll be able to link to in the show notes. Ken Pozak's been leading the way on this. He's been shooting Reels that are reaching 100,000 plus people who he's not in them physically. And the audio is an AI generated version of his own voice. And he's talking about what's happening in the Orlando area. So Jason, the video you just described, which I think is a really smart video of hey, here's the off-market listings, upcoming price reductions, homes about to hit the market. You could literally do that video almost entirely using a VA and AI. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have now eliminated every excuse why agents who are watching right now should not be using this incredible platform to get business. And I think that is something we all got to be paying attention to.
Also, the B-roll videos are absolutely crushing right now with the voiceover. So even if you have the camera on yourself, like you did at the very beginning of that, where you're kind of the hook saying, check this out, and then you flip it around, that takes no charisma, training, video expertise whatsoever. It's just you, and then it's B-roll, or it's whatever it is. Another thing Chris Smith taught me, actually, was we did an AI lead magnet with him once, and he said, Eric, what you should do is print it out. Right. So if you have a buyer's guide or a seller's guide, actually print it out. So you don't even have to flip the camera around and say, hey, I just have this, 5-page first-time condo buyer guide. It's very detailed. It has this, this, and this. Comment the word condo right now. That's the visual hook as well. That's going to get people like, oh my God, look how much work is into that thing. As opposed to this kind of, I'll send you a PDF. Like that sounds boring, but you're going to send me this amazing guide that I see right there. That's epic.
Very clever.
Yes. This is an amazing episode, folks. Let me know in the comments what you think of these tactics. Throw this video a like. Let's get this to 100 likes and go follow 𝐤𝐤𝐚𝐚𝐢𝐤 right now because he is the most useful follow in real estate. I want to rapid fire you, Jimmy. 2025, right around the corner, right? So I just kind of have a list of questions that Jason and I have compiled that could kind of just help us push into 2025. Just kind of clickbaity, clip-like questions, but I am curious your answers. What do you think the biggest mistake right now that agents are making on social or Instagram?
The biggest mistake right now is they don't have their inputs dialed in, so their outputs will never be any good. Meaning that it means, let me translate, okay?
Okay, thank you, please.
We live in an attention economy. The best brands in the world understand that. And so that means that the currency that we trade in is content. And so everybody is supposed to be creating a lot more content. The problem is that most brands, most agents have not set up their, let's call it their inputs, where they get their ideas from, where they get their strategies from, who they use as inspiration. They have not actually created that machine that then fuels everything else they do. So they wake up in the morning not feeling inspired, not having any type of, let's say, examples to pull from, and then they delay and obfuscate until the sort of next day, and then they go weeks or months without posting or sharing or shooting. And so I think the biggest mistake people make is, and this is what we mentioned earlier, is that pros have a swipe file. Eric, you've got accounts you follow. Jason, you've got people you follow. We subscribe to blogs. You guys listen to earnings calls, or Byron does at least, right? I know you do, Jason. And so like if you don't get your inputs right, your outputs will never be any good. So the first thing I would be doing right now, especially going into the latter part of the year, is making sure that I have made a list of the people who I aspire to be like. So for me, it's like Adam Grant, Dr. Julie Gertner, Scott Galloway, Patrick O'Shaughnessy, David Senra. These are all points of inspiration for me that make say, okay, cool. I want to be a version of those people because I think they're smart, intelligent, and they provide a ton of value. If you get that right, I mean, content creation becomes 10x easier. So I know it's a long-winded answer to your first rapid fire question, but that's the first thing I'd focus on.
I'm playing in the wrong
I
pond,
totally
I don't
agree.
know one name that he just said.
I know. Were those people on the Nuggets? I don't know. If they're not, then I don't really understand who they are. Are they authors, podcasters, scammers,
creators?
Rapid fire number 2. If you could only pick one channel, one marketing channel for 2025, what would it be?
Email.
Yeah.
Undeniably email. Like I think that the data that our friends over at Fellow shared with me recently, they currently track 35 million people across all the 2,000 plus Fellow users. They have 13 million addresses in their database. The average agent right now loses out on 90% of the deals, all the transactions that are already in their database. And so you can fix that through just better email marketing. Now, let me give you a quick pro tip. I think you should use your social media following to build your email list and your email list to build your social media following. We've been doing this for 15 years. So if let's say, had a market update, Jason, I would shoot a market update, what's going on in the market. I'd post on Instagram, right, or social. And then I would go to my email database and say, hey, I just dropped a new market update. It's already going viral, has 10 comments, right? And I want you to check it out. Here's the link. And so I'm building a deeper connection with my email audience. As they engage, it helps me grow my social media audience, and it creates this incredible flywheel for my business.
Smart.
Jason, this is the perfect segue for this. Haley, if you could pull this up. This is probably by far one of the best posts I've seen to get email leads on Instagram.
Let's take some calls from the request line. Caller number 1.
Hey, man, what's up? This is Dominique from Shady No Trail Bar.
What's up, Dominique?
I want to hear that song from Lil Jon and P. Pablo.
All right, I got that coming right up for you. Now, shout out the radio station that gave you what you wanted.
W Boom Boom B, baby.
So, Freak a Leak, first of all, great song in 8th grade. I remember grinding on a girl named Jessica at the dance to that specific song. And I went home, I was like, holy crap. This is what I want to do with my life.
I'm sure Jessica had to go to a lot of therapy after that.
Jessica, if you're listening to this,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyway, what I loved about that video, besides, it's super simple. Again, she didn't even say anything, right? She held up the guide. She said, comment the word guide, first thing in the caption. And she had hundreds and hundreds of comments that all went directly to her email list. So it was just very simple. She had Freak a Leak on in the background and said like, hey, Marie, like I want to buy a home. It was just text popping up. And that's all it was. It was a 15-second video. So you don't even have to go into like a full-blown explanation. You could take inspiration from someone like Marie Lee and just have audio as a voiceover and have the text actually popping up as to what the call to action should be. I just thought that was really good.
Yeah, very clever.
Great job, Marie.
All right, I guess not much to follow up on there.
She's a stalwart on this show. She's on here every week. I love Marie. She's doing.
If you want inspiration, follow Marie Lee from Tennessee. And if you're an agent looking to stand out from the crowd, Jimmy, Reminder Media is a resource you have to check out. You know Luke Acre, the president.
I know Luke really well. Smart guy.
You get your own branded print and digital magazines, email newsletters, and social content. Reminder delivers these resources to your contacts on autopilot, keeping you top of mind with your database. All you got to do is focus on your follow-up calls and watch referrals and repeat business come in. All right, speaking of content, this is an announcement right here. I'm breaking it right now. We are launching something called the Bammies, a real estate content award show, a virtual free award show on December 11th, where we are going to cover the best content in real estate of 2024. Jimmy, you have not been nominated.
You have not.
I'm sorry.
We brought you on to tell you that you have not been nominated.
maybe
that's
you
right.
will be, but this is going to be amazing. We also have Neil Dingrist speaking at it. We're going to go over your 2025 marketing plan. So it's going to be a really fun virtual award show. This isn't, a Top Agent magazine, something you pay for. This is actual nominations from you, the people, Jason.
Number 2, now batting.
That's Bane, Jimmy. If you've ever seen Batman.
I got that. Yes.
Okay.
I'm tracking.
Behind you is a city of oppression, Blackgate Prison, where thousands have languished under this man, Harvey Dent.
Eric has been practicing this for this exact moment for years.
I have. Jimmy, I got a question for you. Bammies,
Yes.
this is what we have for nomination categories. Best listing video.
Yep.
Funniest video, music parody, local highlight, like local spotlight, best hook, best green screen, and best follow in real estate. Can you think of any other categories? It's kind of hard to come up with these, and some of them kind of mesh into each other. Like, what would you?
The one that jumped out to me, I just saw an ad recently, which so the category would be the most original, something that we've never seen before, something that's like, think about the context of like in marketing. We know in real estate, when an idea catches on, like all of a sudden everyone starts doing it. So I would be looking for what was the origin of some of these trend jacking? Like who was the first person, Jason, to say date the rate and marry the house? Okay.
Jason
like who?
I was the first person to come out against it, I think, but I don't know who said it first. Good luck to figure that out.
It's like we should find out who that person is and how are they doing right now? Is the question.
Jimmy, I have a question. I talked about this on last week's episode. Who came up with proof over promise? Was it you? Was it Sharon? Was it TF? Was it Hermosi? Who was it?
Sure. It definitely wasn't me. Sharon is like, the problem with Sharon is every time I have a great idea and I tell Sharon, it's like, oh yeah, I love the idea. I did it 7 years ago.
2016, I had a keynote.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, dude. And like, so I always feel like I'm like the guy who invented electricity in Sharon's Thomas Edison, right? I'm the other guy everyone forgot.
Tesla.
That's how it feels sometimes. No, it wasn't Tesla. It was another guy. There's another guy who invited at the same time. Let me give a quick example here, guys. So talk about originality. There's a horror movie called Smile, and they're coming out. I
just saw Smile too. Unbelievable.
Well, so I've never seen. I've heard of it. I've never watched it, but they're now Smile and leading up to releasing Smile 2. They had probably the greatest marketing campaign I've seen in like 12 months, which is, Jason, you could go to a website and to watch the first 7 minutes, you had to turn on your webcam and then you had to smile the entire time to watch. And if you stopped smiling, the movie would pause. And it went viral. I mean, every major media publication picked up this sort of story. So I think this idea of like it's time to kind of Mr. Beastify real estate. It's time to kind of turn the volume up and try some really original stuff. So the categories you guys have now are best listing video, great. Funniest video, great. Local highlight, great. But who's like completely insane out of the box? That would be one category I'd think about.
Yeah, most original, most innovative. I like both those. Like those are good ideas, right? Like,
look. So
yes,
this is also in the Smile ad
from
campaign.
The first one.
So I remember watching one of these games. It was like Yankees A's.
Yep.
And there's a girl sitting behind at home plate with this sadistic look on her face. She smiled like that the entire time for a 3.5 hour baseball game. It was crazy. It was a genius ad campaign.
Yeah,
I saw
remember
the movie.
this.
Horrifying.
It is. Yeah, I love that. And so, and by the way, so maybe there's a category, guys, around like who's gotten Main Street press, like mainstream, who's gotten like mainstream media. The campaign that led to like because that would be a really cool,
most
because that happens so rarely right now.
Yeah,
truly most viral. Yeah,
Mike Hedge, the Gen Z, my Gen Z.
He was great. Yeah, he was great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the guy's name, but the guy who did the Montana video, who has like 1 million+ views about living in Montana, and it's like the world's worst video, but it's so matter of fact, it's hysterical. I think it's with real Jason.
I think I know what you're talking about. But yeah, like most innovative, most original. You got who did the first real estate ASMR video, and then it took out like 18 other people did it, but who did that first? There should be like a category for that. I like that.
Did it first. Yep.
Most original. I love it. That was a hell of an episode. Enormous value. Make sure you throw this video a like, subscribe to the channel, go follow Jason Cassidy, go follow Jimmy Mackin. He actually is probably the most useful follow in real estate besides, of course, the BAM account and the Broke Agent account. Thank you so much for coming on, Jason and Jimmy, and we will see you guys at the BAMmies December 11th. If you want to nominate someone, or if you just want to attend the award show, I'll be in a full-blown tuxedo. I'll be in a full-blown penguin suit. Make sure you hit the description below to sign up for that right now. Go nominate someone. This is going to be a vote from the people.